What's up, everybody? Bike Builder Bear in the house, checking in. Long time no see. I haven't been putting out a whole lot of videos lately. I never really put out a lot of videos, but my consistency has kind of dried up recently because I've been really busy. Not only with working on my buddy's bike, but working on my truck. Recently, I got this bad boy back on the road. I had to take it to a shop to make sure all the smog stuff was put on correctly and to get it smogged and registered and on the road. So, just to update you, I bought this truck a couple of years ago and it sat right there in that spot for a while, and I kind of just let it sit. I bought it for $1,200 from my neighbor that owns that red car next to me. Good guy. And I bought this truck. I wanted a project vehicle. I've always wanted a mini truck that I can do the things that I like to it. So I bought that truck at a low price. This thing is a hoopty. It's got good bones, but it's a hoopty. So let me grab the camera and start off by showing you what I had done at Pacific Carburetor, and then I'll show you what I plan on doing today and a brief of what I plan on doing with this truck altogether. Also, before we get into it real quick, I want to apologize to all my Boom Vader clone fans that watch mostly my videos because of that stuff. I still will be putting out some videos. I still got minor things to do to my bike. My buddy's bike, that bike is just about to get out of the garage today. He's going to come and finish doing the last couple things we think he needs to do to where he can ride it home and start his finish his ride-in braking processes, the braking in, rides, which are easy rides, letting the bike warm up, not doing top RPM, get about a good 150 to 200 miles. The first, 150, 200 miles, change the oil, then do about a 500-mile ride, and I'll change the oil. And with those two first oil changes on an aluminum cylinder motor, it should be hardened and good to go without any scarring or anything. Hopefully it sets in nicely. Every once in a while you'll get a motor that just doesn't set in correctly, and the whole life of the motor it's going to be plagued with little issues that'll eventually make it not run correctly at all. So anyways, I apologize for the pause on the Boom Vader content. I am going to switch to doing some work on this bike, much in the fashion of my much loved channels Donut, Speed TV, and Big Time. I love those guys. I love Donut Media. I love Thomas's Speed, little Speed channel. I love Big Time. I love those goofy guys. I'm not gonna lie, I would love to get up into the YouTube worlds like Cruzy's Original, Blockhead. There's some smaller guys out there that inspired me. John's Moto Garage, he was doing a lot of videos I was watching for a while. Speed, Donut, Big Time. I would definitely love to get my content more into that caliber. Better editing, better cameras. I do have a plan right now to get a good camera, some microphones, and some equipment so I can start doing ride-along videos and stuff like that, and do better editing and better videos that show more of the processes of the things that I'm doing. So again, let's get back to it. Let's check out the truck. So first, let me pop the hood on this and show you what I took it to a shop to get done first. When I had bought this truck, all of the smog stuff had gotten ripped off. Whoever owned it before, my neighbor bought it. They got fake false smog certificates and pulled off all the puffer tubes, all the vacuum tubes, the idle control, everything, like a dummy. Lo and behold, my neighbor's starting to clean his poopies. So, I'll make this quick. If you look down in here, everything looks stock. None of this was there. None of this stuff was there. All of the vacuum tubes, vacuum lines, smog canister, everything was in disarray. Everything needed to be replaced. And I went to Sun Valley, picked apart, and I found just about everything. I found the air cleaner, the original air cleaner. I found all of the smog parts, all of the vacuum lines, but everything was brittle. The multi-ports were all cracking and falling apart from years of rot, and all of it needed to be put back together correctly. So I have lots of mechanic knowledge, but to me it would have been just better to pay a guy that I knows how to work on these things very well, and have him complete the job and get it running and ready for smog. And that's the way I went. And when I took it to get it smogged, surprisingly, even though this motor has 290 something thousand miles on it, it passed with good numbers on a weak catalytic converter. The catalytic converter is starting to shit the bed, and it still passed with great numbers. So you want to talk about e-vehicles and vehicles that are good to the earth? This right here, this little gas sipping hummingbird right here, that's got over 290,000 miles on it. This thing still hasn't done the damage to the earth that making one Tesla does. Just making the Tesla. That's not even burning the coal to power the Tesla. Anyways, back to my point. Now everything is legit, ready to go. Now it is time to clean, fix up, rebuild. It's time to go through this bad boy. It's time to restore this thing. So under here, everything is going to stay the same. I am ordering a new aluminum core racing radiator, 2-core, so that I can also put a little bit of an oil cooling system. I'd like to cool the oil down a little bit so that this motor continues to run those long miles for many years. I would love my daughter to be able to drive this truck when I'm gone and dead. And beyond that, it's going to stay pretty much like this until some years down the line, if I got the money, I'll put an LS in here and race it out like all Thunderbird NASCAR style and make a mean monster out of it. But for now, I'm going to lowride this truck. I'm going to mini truck this truck. I'm going to get some spoked rims. I'm going to get some JDM rims. I'm going to get multiple different sets of shoes, and I'm going to lower this bad boy and clean it up and have me a nice little cruiser / recovery truck for the bikes. Let's check out the inside. Now, when I said hoopty, I was not joking. This thing is a hoopty. I've got to make some panels. I've got to fix the dash. I've got to connect the speedometer because the speedometer and odometer had been disconnected at one time. I've got to fix the fuel gauge, which I might have to pull the tank to do that. And it's got a big old 25-30 gallon tank in this bad boy, which is awesome. Not to mention it's stick, so this car is automatically better than 90% of the vehicles on the road. But yes, it's a hoopty. I'm going to need to get a new seat. I'm going to need to get new carpet. I'm going to need to get new headliner. I'm going to have to do a little bit of rust repair. I'm going to have to do a little bit of what I would call burrito garage specials, because with these interior panels, I don't want the original stuff. I don't want to get this. I'm gonna glaze this and get some paneling and some Mexican serape style blankets, and I'm just gonna cover this stuff with the Mexican blanket style material. It'll look awesome, especially lowered with some spokes on it. That'll be the hit. Heck yeah. Today I'm going to be replacing my blinker switch. I'm going to be replacing the key ignition, which, if any of you guys have ever ran into this, in order to do your blinker switch and change your ignition, you have to pull off the steering wheel. You have to pull off the steering wheel to get into all of this. And when you do, everything comes out simply and you can easily fix everything. And also, I'm going to be pulling that non-working stereo out. I've got a double deck touchscreen stereo to go in, and me and my buddy are going to go buy some speakers today. Because even though it's a hoopty, it's nice to listen to music in your hoopty when you're putting down the road, causing people to honk at you and flip you off because you're going so slow in your hoopty. But let's do a walk around now. You know, this is pretty much it. Base platform. I was lucky enough to run across a guy that had some shitty IROC rims, so I was able to ditch the cast wheels that were on here. They were actually the ugly ones that come on Monte Carlos and the Malibus. So I really wasn't afraid of switching because I knew they weren't the original. So I traded a kid for these. I'm gonna sandblast these and clean them up and paint them black and make them look original like they used to look in the 80s. I might do some of that today. I'm probably gonna do one rim a week because there's a lot. You gotta sandblast, clean the back of the rim. I might have to hit all the machined aluminum edges with a die grinder just to make it look the way it's supposed to out of the factory again. So I'll probably end up doing one rim a week, but this is it. This is the bad boy. And I also need to replace that leaf spring, so I'm going to get two brand new leaf springs. I'm going to get a 3-inch lowering box for the back, 3-inch lowering spindles for the front, lower it, and all that'll be coming soon. And this is the reason why I'm going to back off my videos from these for a little bit, and also why I'm not doing the Elfin XMT 250. I was gonna get a 250, another Chinese clone bike that I could put all Chinese parts, put the same build quality that I did to this into it, but all that got put on hold because my wife said, no, you're not gonna buy a motorcycle, you gotta fix your truck. So that's where I'm at, people. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the camera down. I'll try to take some footage here and there as I get through the processes of what I'm doing today. And this is what you're gonna see from me for a little bit, is more Chevy S10 rebuild stuff. As you can see, I'm dirty and it's way later in the day. I got my locks changed out to where now I have locks. I've got my ignition tumbler changed out, so now I have my ignition, you know, everything works properly, brand new, not janky, the key doesn't fall out, and I got security on my truck. I also started pulling the dash apart and getting into the dash to where I can put some speakers in and see why my speedometer isn't working and see if I can get to the cluster. But that's going to be a big project for when I feel like pulling the dash apart and pulling it completely out of the truck, disconnecting everything. And when I do that, I've got a plan to not be driving this truck to work, because I am driving this truck to work. But as you can see, some goodies right there. I've got a really nice, fairly used, in great condition Pioneer touchscreen stereo. I bought some 4x10s and some 4-inch speakers, 2-ways, Boss. Nothing special. I don't need super tunes, I just need some stereo. So sorry I didn't get more footage. I'm gonna call it a day, come back tomorrow, after church and try to install the stereo and the speakers, and I'll try to get some footage on that, but we'll see. I will be back so what's up, everybody? It's the next day, and I remembered, oh shoot, I'm supposed to record some of this process. So I started off this morning getting ready to do a speaker installation with those speakers. And for the dash, there I have the stock grill covers, but I have this dash slip, and so I'm making these panels to fit the 4-inch speakers in the dash, and then the dash cover goes on top of these. So I want the speakers recessed down. I want them to sit down in the dash. Watch, let me show you this cover. You can see those, they're going to fit in that conformity. And don't worry, down the line I'm going to epoxy resin the whole dash, and I'm going to cover it with a Mexican blue Mexican serape style blanket. I'm gonna material wrap this whole dash, the whole thing. I'm gonna take the whole dash out, do the cluster, redo the lights. But that's for another day. Today I'm just getting a stereo in so I have some tunes while I'm riding back and forth from work. And this is what I was telling you about the slip. See, this is a fascia product that they make on the market for many trucks, that when your dash gets this bad, you just simply slide it over and it looks good. You could double side sticky tape, you could Velcro it, whatever you want. But like I said, today right now I'm mounting these. I've already got my power wire and memory and everything for my stereo set. As soon as I'm done with the speakers, I'm going to mount the stereo in there and wire it, and then start putting the face of the dash back on. But I also got 4x10s that I'm going to put there in those spots, but I'm actually going to just cut those out and mount the speakers on the outside of those. I don't want the speakers hitting, I want them out. And then later in the future, oh, look at my tactical machete. Don't mess with an American. We are ready. But anyways, I am going to fill this nice little gap, because if you look, you could fit a nice little speaker box in there. I'm going to get a flat box with 2 Cerwin-Vega 12s in there so I could rattle the house. And in this tiny little cab, this tiny little truck, all that sound will be well sufficient enough to have a good little time rolling down the road, bumping some oldies. So, all right, I'm gonna get back to it, and then I'll try to record those speakers once I get them mounted in and the wires sticking through the dash right there. And then I'll try to pause and take a point, you know, show you where I'm at right there, and just do it step by step. Also, in these panels, I'm going to make under panels with padding and that matching serape material for the dash. And then also, I am going to buy a whole new seat. I'm going to try to find a granny car seat that has like the pull down center console that turns into a cup holder, something like out of a LeBaron, or you know, something like that. One of those 90s grandma cars that got the pillow top seat, real cush, something that looks a little granny-ish but stylish, you know, that old Continental look. But all right, so let me get back to it. Okay, so I put the speakers recessed on the backside so that there's plenty of travel for the speaker to crank the bass notes and the kick drums and all of that stuff, you know what I mean, without the speaker popping up and touching that plastic cover. I wanted lots of space in there. And I'm also going to be drilling out those holes on that cover a little bigger so more of the sound could come through the little vent kind of thing that they have going on. As you can see, I got the little panels in, put the speakers in, my wires are in, and magically, voila. And I think as long as I open up those holes for the sound to come through a little better and everything's done right, it shouldn't sound like flappy plastic or chattery plastic or nothing like that. It should just allow the sound to come through. They're not subwoofers, they're just mids and highs. So, and doing this process all together took me half an hour to cut those pieces of wood and wire it up and all that stuff. So let's check in on the next process. Okay, so we're in the home stretch. The stereo is pretty much wired, speakers wired. Need to start buttoning her back up. My future camera girl and soldering partner helped me solder all the connections together. Thank God I have her to back me up. But we're gonna start cleaning up and buttoning everything up. And then we'll take a last final shot and show you that everything works. So now I got the 4x10s. I decided to mount them in here, because if I mount them in here in the panel, there's less chance of the speaker box I'm going to get conflicting with the speaker, so there's more room and it just keeps everything out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and stick those in. I got one mounted already with the speaker in it. See, and it just sits there nice, the speaker's in there. And it just gives me a lot more room for my subwoofer and keeps things out of the way. That way the speaker can't get poked. So I like that. I like that. That'll work. And I'm gonna stick the other side in. Then we're going to temporary mount or temporary wire the stereo in. Just kind of get the power and all that correctly wired in. Soft wire the speakers just where I can make sure that left, right, front, and back is correct. And then after that, I've got to make a couple of little L brackets to hold the stereo in place, and then start putting all the face of the dash back on. Okay, so me and my daughter Dallas, my soon-to-be camera girl, me and her soldered the radio in and everything is put together, back together. Let me got touchscreen stereo. I still need to make a backing plate for this to fill the gap. I got some metal and some paint and I put in a car show hot rod style dope ass shifter, but the radio works good. It's connected to a cord so that you can connect your telephone. I got a microphone up there. I still need to put a headliner. There's so much work that does need to be done to this, but speakers are in, touchscreen stereo. And I do not own any of the copyrights or titles to that music. I am not trying to make money off that music, so copyright. That's not my music. Just free open use. But we got it done. It was a long day getting the stereo in, the speakers, and then as a little extra treat doing the shift knob. So this is my first video on, or actually this is my second my second official video on this beater truck. I am going to turn this into a little Cali mini truck, lowrider truck, and you guys are gonna have to put up with this until I get a good portion of this truck done, and my wife will let me buy another Chinese clone, which then I will continue to do my clone thing, which I really enjoyed turning a cheap Amazon quality motorcycle into a better quality motorcycle than the original, that the copy, or better than the original. My copy is better than the original. I beat even the 190 big jug Hondas with the thrush intakes, all that stuff. I fucking smoke you guys all fucking day long. But anyways, please like, please subscribe. God bless. Peace.